Tonight from Brophy Sports Complex in Phoenix, Arizona, the Arizona Lacrosse League is on the air. It's the 2017 semifinals as the third-seeded Lancers out of Tucson Salpointe take on the five-time champion, the Brophy Broncos. I'm Jeff Lowry. Salpointe led by Maxwell Manka, who's up for an MVP this year. So versatile. Maybe the top face-off guy in the state. Cade Kaiser, right now their leading scorer. Without the services of Jackson McKenna, he's going to have to pick up some of the scoring for the Salpointe Lancers. And number 8, Nathan Moultrie, one of the leaders at attack. And this team's going to have to put some points up against a very tough, very stingy defense. Brophy led by Ben Shine on the defensive side. This is a team that did not give up a lot of points this year. 54 coming in. Grant Hushik has had a tremendous season, the second Hushik to play for this program, and probably will be an all-star at the season's end. And what a job Carter McKeon has done. These three have really helped Liam Bailey as one of the great goalies in the state. Bo Pick is the head coach of the Brophy Broncos in his 9th year, the winningest coach in league history. And there is Kevin Krieger, his first year back after a 2-year hiatus with Sabino. Of course, he was the head coach of Salpointe for many years before. Back with the play-by-play in just a moment. Jeff Lowry back here from Brophy Sports Complex. The Broncos coming in with a record of 12-1. And they are coming off a 14-6 thrashing at the hands of the Chandler team, the Chandler Pumas. It is a very blustery evening, as you can see. They have told us, the weatherman told us, possible gust up to 40 miles an hour. We haven't felt that yet, so hopefully that was an overstatement by the weather people that make those decisions. Salpointe coming in, the number 3 seed. They're 10-3 as the starters are heading out for the opening face-off. Salpointe making their 4th semifinal appearance, while Brophy is making their 10th consecutive. And under Bo Pick, they have been in the semifinals every year. So we're ready to go here. Eric Garrigan, number 20, in goal for Salpointe. Brophy, of course, Liam Bailey. Yeah, I'll tell you, one of the keys here is going to be face-off X. It's all about possession. And here's Maxwell Manka taking the opening face-off, and he rips one through for the opening score. Mankin scores with lightning-like quickness, and 11:52, 8 seconds into the contest, Salpointe leads it 1-0. So Manka, a face-off win, and Salpointe's going to get another one. So Brophy, that's one of the great equalizers for this Salpointe team, is the fact that they've got Mankin, and, you know, this is a kid that could be top 5 MVP this year. He led the state in face-off wins. He led the state by far, if the statistics are correct. It was hard to believe that he had doubled up Quinn Stanton, who was number 2 in ground balls, but it's been a great, great season for number 52. So Salpointe settling in 6-on-6, led by Brett Bakewell. Of course, the Bakewell, he is a third of the 3 brothers of the Bakewells, and they've had some great athletes down there at Salpointe for many years, not only in lacrosse but in football and soccer. Salpointe leads it 1-0. Max Mankin took the opening face-off and raced into the offensive half unabated and pulled the trigger on a big right hand to give the Lancers an early 1-0 lead. Salpointe coming off somewhat of a controversial ending, 11-10 win over Arcadia. And one of the keys that we got to mention here, didn't have time in our pregame, they are without the services of Jackson McKenna, who broke his arm back in the 11th game of the season, as Brophy brings it into the offensive half, led by Pimentel, number 7. Ducey battling near side, and number 2 picks it up. He's a ground ball machine too, number 2. And now they're going to say a hold on Brophy. And somehow Salpointe came up with the possession. Looked like Ducey was the one being held on that one, but it's 1-0 Salpointe. They're in the all-dark uniforms. But the Lancers are coming in without their top scorer and MVP candidate in his own right, Jackson McKinney. And maybe even more important, or as important, is the fact that because of a scuffle at the end of the round 1 playoff game against Arcadia, Bailey Willauer is unavailable here tonight. So Salpointe playing a little short-handed. Brophy looks like they're playing full strength here as a big left-handed shot, no good by Cade Kaiser, who is their second leading scorer this year. 1-0 Salpointe. We're in quarter number 1. Good defense by Carter McKeon. Great stick work. Number 6 is Patrick McNeil, one of the true leaders. The shot taken is corralled by the Brophy goalie, Liam Bailey. And now the Broncos will try to clear it out of their own end. They need to get it into the box on the other side. You have 20 seconds to do so, or you'll be called for failure to advance. So if you ever wonder why a guy races down into the opponent's defensive half and he'll step into that box that's painted with the light blue there at the 30-yard line. That's just one of the rules of lacrosse. And I know a lot of people don't understand the game of lacrosse, but it's a great game. And certainly we invite you all to come out May 5th to the Arizona Lacrosse League Finals. They'll be played at beautiful Arcadia High School. The winner of this game will take on tomorrow night's game winner, Notre Dame, playing host to Desert Vista. Here's a buildup. Here's Salpointe going to work, trying to take the shot, and it was disrupted by, looked like maybe Patrick McNeil or number 5, Carter McKeon. Joe Van Ribbing, another one of the top 5 or 10 in MVP this year. He's had a big season. He's not the leading scorer on this team. That would be Lesher, who wears number 20, Alex Lesher. Over 60 points this year for Bopic. And Zach Widman, the assistant coach for the Brophy Broncos. Kevin Krieger, the head coach of Salpointe, playing in their 4th semifinal at the Division I level. And there's a big right hand from Van Ribbing. JVR scoring to tie this game up here in quarter number 1. And with 7 minutes and 49 seconds left to go, Brophy is on the board finally, and it's 1-1. The first 2 face-offs have been won by the Salpointe Lancers. Well, the 2 outstanding programs, of course, many of you who have been around Arizona lacrosse for a long time, you know the history of the Brophy Broncos. Bopic became their head coach in 2009. He's in his 9th year. They've been to the semis each and every year. They've been to the state finals 6 times. They've won 3. They won 2. They won back-to-back titles in 07 and 08 under a different coach. And now going to work is Cade Kaiser, trying to pick up some of the scoring with McKinney out with an injury. Their leading scorer this year, one of the MVP candidates, at least offensive players of the year. 16, Hackmeyer. Over to Moultrie, and they'll work it back up top. Salpointe got on the board first when this guy here, Maxwell Mankin, took the opening face-off and blasted one past Liam Bailey, the Brophy goalie, for the opening score. But then Joe Van Ribbing went top shelf at the 7:49 mark to tie it up. Great defense, Brophy. Luke Van Ribbing. And coming up with a big-time ground ball. And here's Brophy trying to get it into transition. Kyle Stringer up to Hushik, and it's a takeaway. And here's Bakewell going to work. Bakewell goal line extended right, and they'll slow it down. Yellow. Up top, Cade Kaiser. Kaiser on the build-up. He's got the right hand free, and a tremendous save by Bailey. And you can see that wind really picking up. Loose ball, and Bailey finally corrals it for the Brophy Broncos, and we're tied at 1 apiece inside of 6 minutes to go, opening quarter. Up to Pimentel. And another Salpointe takeaway on the defense. Good job. 48 is Josh Escobedo. Salpointe, they have one championship. As we said, 4 semifinal appearances at the D1 level. Their only championship came in 2009 when they beat Horizon in the Division II state championship that year. And Kevin Krieger was their head coach. Pimentel, nice clear, soft ride by the defense of the Salpointe Catholic Lancers. Ground ball loose, picked up by Escobedo. Or check that, 43, that's Wegner, Benjamin Wegner. Get it into the offensive half, and now they got Franzoy slowing things down as Kevin Krieger makes some personnel changes on the fly. Over to Jacob Gates. Now the Lancers trying to take their second lead of the contest. We're tied at 1 here in quarter number 1 as we're approaching that 4-minute mark here. Lancers coming in with a record of 10-3, Brophy 12-1. Their only loss was to number 1 ranked Notre Dame early in the season. It was Brophy's 3rd game of the year. And they got down 7-1 here at Brophy Sports Complex. Save Bailey, Bronco possession. That might have hit Bailey in the face mask. And hopefully he'll be all right. It kind of looked like it came off his face mask. And now Brophy having a little trouble getting it across the halfway line as they are coming up on the clock here. And Carter McKeon heaves it downfield with 4:12 left to go here in the opening quarter in a 1-1 tie. And I think they're going to rule this a shot. Yeah, our lead official here tonight saying that was a shot. And so Brophy might have caught a break there with the officials, maybe. Joe Van Ribbeck over to Ducey. Joe Ducey, not the big offensive numbers, but he's a ground ball machine, and he just does a lot of the intangibles that makes this team so good. And Oliver taking a big left hand. He started way up top and came around and gives Brophy the lead. At 2-1 here in this state semifinals with 3:49 left to go here in the opening quarter, and that's our first lead change of the day. Salpointe led 1-0. They're dominating in face-off X as Bakewell came up with a ground ball eventually. And now Salpointe looking to equalize here as they trail the Brophy Broncos 2-1. Brophy has been the winningest program in league history since 2006. They've had by far more victories. But they haven't been to a state championship game since they were defeated by Desert Vista back in 2014. That was the year Bo Pick and the Broncos were trying to three-peat. But then they ran into a buzzsaw called the Desert Vista Thunder. And that 2014-2015 teams, 2 of the best, if not the 2 best teams in league history. And probably the 2 teams that Brophy had the preceding years were right up there with them. That's a high pass and a turnover. Carter McKeon will restart it for the Brophy Broncos here in quarter number 1 with 2 minutes left to play. 2-1 Brophy. Nice clear by Joe Van Ribbeck, who scored Brophy's first goal at the 7:49 mark. Oliver Wanabo added the lead point at the 3:49 mark here in the first quarter. Ducey getting around the defender to Lesher, and the behind-the-back shot is no good by Patrick McNeil. Good effort. Lesher, the leading scorer, number 20 on the restart. Over to Jack Clark. Clark had a big game against Chaparral a couple of weeks ago. The final regular season game against the Firebirds. Patrick McNeil, truly the leader on this Brophy team. He's like having a head coach out there on the field. Now Lesher going to work, looking for a big left hand, and he went top shelf, and he found the promised land. Lesher's score gives Brophy the biggest lead of the contest of 2. They've scored 3 straight, and with 1:52 left to play here in quarter number 1, the Broncos lead the Lancers 3-1. That was pretty impressive. He had some double team. He drew the slide there and still was able to get off the shot. And it's all about space and getting in the shot off. And right now it's all about possession, and Brophy has had it since this guy here got that opening face-off, and they have dominated face-off X here in the first quarter. So the Lancers trying to cut into now a 2-point lead by the Brophy Broncos. These two teams met on April 19th, and it was a close one, and we're anticipating this to be a close game. 10-9 was the final score as the Broncos came out on top of the Salpointe Lancers. The Lancers have outscored their opponents this year 153-117, and they are the 3rd seed coming in. Their 3 losses have been at the hands as this one is turned over, and Tommy Moore had it. But then good Lancer defense trying to get it right back. It's all about possession, and here is Truman. So Hunter Truman now losing it, and the loose ball will be picked up there by Truman again. And he'll lead it up ahead to Grant Hushik. Hushik in the hot potato, he couldn't handle it. And now DeHaan brings it into the offensive half for the Salpointe Lancers going the other way. Lancers in possession in the all-dark uniform with the brown and burgundy lettering. They trail 3-1 here. Final moments of quarter number 1 on APN Video Sports. It's the state semifinals. The winner of this game will take on the winner of tomorrow night's game at Notre Dame Prep between the Desert Vista Thunder and the Saints. Pimentel, defense in X. Work it out to Cade Kaiser, who did not realize that there was no time left and did not get a shot off. And we are heading to quarter number 2. The Arizona Lacrosse League state semifinals. Brophy leads 3-1. Jeff Lowry back here from Brophy Sports Complex, home to the Brophy Broncos in the state semifinals. The winner of this game will take on the winner of Notre Dame Desert Vista, a game that will be played tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at that beautiful Bemis Field on the campus of Notre Dame Prep. This is our 6th face-off of the game. We're going to get a whistle, a push, and this is going to give the Salpointe Lancers another face-off win. We've had 6 face-offs, and all of them have belonged to the Lancers, but they trail 3-1 in this game. They got an opening score right off the face-off by Maxwell Manka, who probably won't be the offensive player of the year, as this shot is taken with the big right hand and the score. And, well, the Lancers are now within 1 as Cade Kaiser gets on the board, and it's 3-2. A clutch goal by Cade Kaiser, coming 30 seconds into quarter number 2. But we were talking about Manka. He's got to be one of the top 10 in MVP this year. I mean, his play has catapulted this Salpointe team. They're a team that was did not even make the playoffs last year, well under the 500 mark. And this year, 10-3 coming in, and a team that nobody wants to play in the playoffs this year. So Salpointe cuts the deficit to 1 at 3-2. Looking to tie it up, and this one got a piece of Luke Van Ribbink, and it puts Brophy in transition. Tommy Moore with a great clear, and now the check by Escobedo, and he will come off the field. And now Joe Van Ribbink, who scored Brophy's first goal at the 7:49 mark back in the first quarter, is back on the field. And of course you got Wanabo, number 1, scored the second goal, the third by Lesher. So it's a 3-2 game. Kaiser and Mankin have scored for Salpointe. 3-2 Brophy, quarter number 2. Right in around that 10-minute mark here. Lesher going to work. His dominant hand is the left and turned away on a pretty good save there by Eric Garrigan. Ball goes flying out of bounds. Joe Ducey will restart it. And now Joe Van Ribbing around a high screen. Draws a double team, and now they work it back the other way. Lesher, big left hand, and he rips one through for his second score of the game. And the Broncos lead it 4-2. So Lesher becomes the first player on the field with multiple goals. 10:04 left to play here in the first half, and the Brophy Broncos enjoying a 2-point lead. They've led 3-1 and now 4-2. Second face-off here in the second quarter, the 7th in the ball game, and all have been won by the Salpointe Lancers. And with the exception of the opening goal by Manka, as he wins another one here, loses it. Strong defense there, good check by Hunter Truman. And Salpointe out of play. They have not been able to really utilize those 7 face-off wins, except for that first one. You're watching the state semifinals. This is APN Video Sports. The Brophy Broncos in the all-white tops and the black shorts, taking on Salpointe, the all-dark uniforms of Kevin Krieger's team, and it's Brophy 4, Salpointe 2, quarter number 2. We approach the 9-minute mark here. McNeil back in there, Joe Van Ribbink. Van Ribbink scored the first goal of the game for the Brophy Broncos. Now Oliver working the wing, takes it into X. Here's Clark, Jack Clark, over to McNeil. McNeil wants to pull the trigger. He does, and turned away by Eric Garrigan, the goalie for the Salpointe Lancers, who's had a strong game so far. And the score remains Brophy 4, Salpointe 2 in the state semifinals. Lead pass intercepted, and now Brophy in transition. And Carter McKeon just threw it away. May have been a little anxious on that pass. Salpointe will have the possession. Inside of 9 minutes left to play here in the first half, as Salpointe has possession and trailing 4-2. Eric Garrigan. Well, the Salpointe faithful wanting their team to get this clear, and they got to hustle up here with Josh Escobedo. Escobedo nearly had it picked off there. Finds Moultrie. Nate Moultrie out on the wing. Harassing defense by Lesher. Good job by the Brophy Broncos. And this one, well, they are going to de-stick Nate Moultrie and get Lesher, or who was it? I guess we have an offsides. It was offside, so a 30-second infraction there. And so now a man-up situation here for the Salpointe Lancers, who trail 4-2. They've got to get a score here. They'll take the shot, and Liam Bailey will be credited with the save. About 15 seconds left in the penalty. Man-up situation here for the Salpointe Lancers. Down by 2. They took the early 1-0 lead. Hackmeyer work it around. Back to X, and the shot. Brett Bakewell from the money spot. And it's a 1-point game as the Salpointe Lancers draw to within 1 at 4-3. 7:36 left to go here in quarter number 2. Our 8th face-off. Salpointe has won the first 7. And they won number 8. Max Mankin, the premier face-off man in Arizona lacrosse. You're watching Arizona Lacrosse League, high school level, varsity level, state semifinals. It's a one-point affair as Salpointe looking to equalize. Led by Brett Bakewell, number 30. Get it over to Dalton Franzoy, and he will score. Bakewell on the assist, and we are tied here in quarter number 2. 7:09, so they have scored 2 goals within 30 seconds. It's a 4-4 tie here. And our 9th face-off here in the first half. This has the makings of a high-scoring game. We kind of figured it would be probably, teams, if it's close, the teams are going to be somewhere around 8 to 10 points apiece. Mankin does it again, 9 for 9. And what a weapon for Coach Krieger over there for the Salpointe Lancers. So checking back into the game, Jacob Gates, number 24, Cade Kaiser. Loose ball. We're going to get a loose ball push and give it right back to Josh Hackmeyer and the Salpointe Lancers. First half, second quarter action. Bad pass. And 50-50 time at midfield. And the Broncos with Joe Ducey, the outstanding midfielder, will pick it up and restart it here for the Broncos, led by their 9th-year head coach, the winningest coach in Arizona Lacrosse League history, Bo Pick. Owners of 3 state championships. His team have been to 6. Chaparral beat the Broncos in 09 and 11, and then they lost to that great Desert Vista team in 2014. Nice move, quickly inside. Jack Clark moving without the ball, and he will get the score, and the Broncos are right back on top. That comes with 6 minutes left to play here in the first half, and the Broncos, after Salpointe scored 2 straight, now lead it 5-4. On our Arizona Lacrosse League game of the week, the Broncos and the Lancers. The Broncos in the white and black. Another face-off win. This time, that was Lucas Cap. Lucas Cap getting the face-off win. Can you believe that Brophy has lost all 10 face-offs? But yet they lead 5-4. Salpointe now looking to equalize with Cade Kaiser, who is now their leading scorer, without the services of Jackson McKinney, who had a big season for the Lancers. Pass. Lancers corral it. Nice job. Escobedo's had a good game here. Number 48 for the Lancers. Quickly up ahead to Cade Kaiser. Kaiser may have to score 5 or 6 points here today if Salpointe's going to win. Trying to pick up some of that slack from the injured Jackson McKenna. Shot taken, score, we're tied again. Big time shot by Franzoy, his second of the day. And the Salpointe Lancers now tied with 5 minutes left to go here in the first half. Salpointe has scored 3 of the last 4 goals in this game, and they've won all 10 faceoffs. Make it 11. So Manka has done it again. Bakewell and the Lancers in possession. We're tied at 5. Salpointe led 1-0 at 8 seconds into the contest. And ever since then, it's been either Brophy on top, as this one's outside the goal. That's a ground ball goal. And finally corralled. Good play by Liam Bailey, who was aggressive in getting back into X to corral that ball. So the Broncos will have the possession as they try to clear it out of their own end. Joe Van Ribbing, good job. What a season this young man has had. I'll tell you, he has been, truly, I think when you start talking about most valuable player or offensive player of the year, his name's definitely got to be in that conversation. Of course, Lesher, too. Lesher's Second in points to the former Brophy Bronco, James Traxler, who's probably maybe the odds-on favorite to win Offensive Player of the Year. You got to throw J.J. Rose, who I probably think is maybe the best player in the state, into that conversation, and a couple of others. A lot of competition for that Offensive Player of the Year. And McNeil had it taken away. That's some good defense right there. 54 coming through. And the Salpointe Lancers another opportunity here, and now they've lost it. Ball comes all the way up to midfield, and McNeil with the one-handed grab. In transition, Lesher right away, and a quick, weak shot corralled nicely by Garrigan. Wagner did a great job, goal line extended left to break that play up. I'm not really sure why they stopped play here. I looked down for just a second, and we had a whistle. And it looks like we're going to get a timeout. Timeout, Brophy. We'll be back. Well, it must have been an official's timeout there, because it was a very quick timeout. And so we are back here from Brophy Sports Complex. You're watching the 2017 Arizona Lacrosse League state semifinals in Division I play between the Brophy Broncos and the Salpointe Lancers. Nice job by Franzoy, who has 2 of his team's 5 goals. We're tied at 5 here as we're playing in the final minutes of this semifinal championship. The winner will play the winner of Notre Dame Desert Vista, who play tomorrow at Notre Dame Prep in North Scottsdale. We invite you all to come out and partake into that game. It should be an exciting game. You got 2 teams that can score. And a Notre Dame team who has proven that they have turned the corner. If they can get a victory tomorrow against Dan Lannon's Desert Vista Thunder, it'll be their first state championship appearance in school history in varsity lacrosse. Here, Salpointe and Brophy are tied at 5. Bakewell over to Kaiser. Hackmeyer, good check. McKeon. And somehow Hackmeyer held on to the ball. 5-5 tie, quarter number 2. And a pass. Oh, there was an open man cutting towards the crease. Probably would have been a crease violation if he had caught the ball. And we're just inside the 2-minute mark here. 5-5 tie, playing at the home of the Brophy Broncos. Second most state championships in league history. Only Chaparral has more. And they are hoping to advance to their another state championship. It would be their 9th in club history. Brophy has won 5. They've lost 3. I stand corrected. It would be their 10th. It would be their 10th. I was doing this all off the top of my head. They got there in 2006. Derek Rogowski was the head coach. They lost in a close one. That was the Jeff Stroop Chaparral Firebirds. Oliver. Jack Clark, now Lesher. Lesher, the leading scorer for Brophy. Then Brophy, they got Hunter Rogers, somehow got him away from Chaparral. I think he was a free agent that year. He went and played for Brophy, and Oliver has his second goal of the day. Brophy regains the lead, our second lead change of the contest. Oliver's second goal comes with 39.9 seconds to go here in the first half. It was 6-5. It was interesting because Hunter Rogers, one of the great players of all time in league history, went to Johns Hopkins, had a fine college career, one of the all-time greats. He played 2 years for Chaparral, won 2 titles there, Then came to Brophy. They turned the corner. They won back-to-back. Brophy, well, hold on. I thought maybe they had their first face-off win, and they don't. Salpointe faithful, we're down to 30 seconds. Happy about that decision. So they win back-to-back as Mankin scores again. Scored it right off the face-off, his second goal of the day, and we are tied again at 6 apiece. We've been tied at 1, we've been tied at 4, we've been tied at 5, and now 6. 12 face-off wins and 12 tries for the Salpointe Lancers. Salpointe does it again, now Bakewell. But then Brophy won back-to-back in 07 and 08. And they are hoping that this year they're going to get a chance to win their 6th. Opportunity time there, and that was Nathan Moultrie. The zeros are on the board. The first half is in the books, and we are tied at 6 apiece. This is the Arizona Lacrosse League state semifinals on APN Video Sports. Back at Blustery Brophy Sports Complex, the Broncos and the Lancers locked up in the state semifinals, with the winner taking on either Desert Vista and Notre Dame, and we are tied at 6 apiece. A wild and crazy first half. It was very entertaining. Some of the best action we've seen this year, and waiting for the state playoffs and the semifinals to do it. Salpointe has won all 14 face-offs in this contest. And they are led by number 52, Max Manka, who has 2 of his team's 6 points. Franzoy also with 2. Bakewell has a goal. And Kaiser has a goal for Salpointe. So a 6-6 tie as we start the third quarter. Salpointe settling in. And the shot turned away, Bailey. And a big ground ball is going to be picked up there by Hunter Truman. And now Brophy will try to clear it out of their own half. They have been led in scoring. Wanabo has 2 to lead the team. Lesher with 2. Joe Van Ribbeck and Clark add the final 2 points and the 6 total for the Brophy Broncos. Van Ribbeck slides over to the near side. Looking for an opportunity here. He's one-on-one, but way out there. Good defense as they get Patrick McNeil in there. Oftentimes you'll see Bo Pick, who's got probably 3 lines of midfielders, but always seems like McNeil is out there. And he wears number 6, the leader on this Brophy team, the senior leader. Now Joe Van Ribbeck. Over 40 points this year. Moving right. Doesn't draw the slide. Now works it over to Ducey. Back to Lesher. Lesher, their leading scorer this year, going in strong with the left. And it got through somehow, some way. Well, at first it looked like Garrigan was going to stop it. Lesher has a hattie. And the Broncos are back on top. So another lead change here, 10-9, 10:09 left to go here in the third. So Lesher scores his third, second leading scorer in the state, next to James Traxler of Notre Dame. Brophy trying to win their first face-off, and they continue to hold the 0 in face-off X, which I'm really surprised. We knew Mankin was outstanding, but right now you got to figure that Brophy's defense has done a really nice job here today. Now remember, Salpointe coming in here without Jackson McKinney, their leading scorer, and one of the top 5 or 7 players in the state this year offensively. Well, that was a great job by Tommy Moore, making sure he was on the left side of that halfway stripe. Jack Clark in possession. Brophy in the white. leading 7-6 here in the third quarter. Joe Van Ribbink, who scored Brophy's first goal at the 7:49 mark back in the first. Now McNeil, back to Van Ribbink. Joe, tell you, this Bronco offense is very patient. This guy right here, number 6, extremely patient. Ducey had an opportunity there, didn't take it. Instead gives it to Van Ribbink, who does take the shot. That was a little further out than where Joe was. He was on the right wing. And elected to give it up to one of their top scorers. Wanabo. Now Lesher, who has 3 goals. He gets the slide, but no room to breathe, and work it around to the left side. McNeil going in with the top shelf. Could not get it to go. Left it a little high with 8:20 left to play here in the third. McNeil. Broncos in a long possession here in the state semifinal. Lesher going for his 4th. Turned away. That one deflected out of there, out of the danger zone by Garrigan. And it comes down to midfield where the Broncos will get it in transition. Now Ducey. Ducey spins to his left. They get it to Lesher in X. 7-6 Broncos here in the third. Here's Jack Clark going in strong with the left hand. Turned away by the goalie, Eric Garrigan. They'll keep the score at 7-6. We were tied at 6-6 at halftime. The Broncos had an early 3-1 lead after the first frame. Van Ribbink, and he left it high. This has been a very long possession for the Brophy Broncos. It's going on 3 minutes here. Now Jack Clark barking out instructions. Dudas on the defense. McNeil thought about pulling the trigger with the right hand. Oliver with 2 goals gets it back to X and Lesher. And Jack Clark. Boy, I'll tell you what. This Brophy team, so patient on the offensive side. That possession was better than 3 minutes and 30 seconds. 7:12 left to go here. And it's an 8-6 lead for the Brophy Broncos, so they have scored 2 straight. And yet they haven't won 1 face-off in this game in 15 tries. Bo Pig, Zach Widman, head coach, assistant coach over there, watching very closely as Salpointe wins another one. 3 for 3 in face-off wins for the Lancers here in quarter number 3, but they've given up 2 unanswered goals and they trail 8-6. They have the possession here as they get it into the box. Manka, excuse me. I keep wanting to put an N on the end of his name. Max Manka with 2 goals. Franzoy with 2 goals leading the charge. Shot, no good. And this will be Salpointe Lancer ball. Closest to the out of bounds on a shot. Good job by Nate Moultrie backing it up. Lancers really in desperate need of a score here. And Franzoy, did he throw it away? And they're going to say it's a turnover. Chris Romine will, the long stick, will restart it. Bailey over to the far side. 8-6 lead here. We are in quarter number 3. Brophy and Salpointe in the state semifinals. These 2 teams were tied at 6 at halftime, but here in the second half, the third quarter, the Broncos have scored twice and have bolted out to an 8-6 lead. Oliver with 2 goals in possession, right down the pipe and then pushed out of there. Very good defense by Elijah DeHaan. 15. Oliver still in possession of it, works it over to the wing. Lesher with 3 goals here tonight, trying to add on to a 2-goal lead, and he is going to be stopped cold here by Liam Bailey. That's a save for the Salpointe goalie on a big left-handed shot. Joe Van Ribbeck, full head of steam, going in with the right hand, and he got some pipe city, and it goes all the way up to midfield. Offsides, give it back to the Broncos. I'll tell you what, Salpointe right now, they need a lift. They are losing the possession battle. They can win face-off, but right now they are not. They are losing the possession battle big time, and that's why Brophy leads by 2 after being tied at 6 at halftime. We're in the third quarter of this state semifinal game. The Broncos in the white with the red trim and the black shorts lead it 8-6. Joe Ducey, the veteran attack. Good ball rotation there. I'll tell you what, when Brophy scored the 8th point back at the 7:12 mark here in this third quarter, it was a possession that was better than 3 minutes. It was right around 3.5 minutes. And you talk about a very patient offense. Lesher denied by Eric Garrigan. I think I called Eric Liam Bailey a moment ago. Sorry about that. And now Salpointe with a chance here. 54, clearing it. Work it over to Kaiser. In the pipe. Oh, he had a man. But there were 3 Brophy defenders. That inside defense of the Broncos was tremendous. Ground ball at midfield. And now Salpointe. Josh Escobedo or Wegner. Well, Nate Moultrie. We're going to get a timeout here. So Salpointe calling a timeout. They are trailing by 2. They got to get a score here. I don't think they can afford to go down by 3 with 3.5 minutes left to go here in the third. So they are in possession, and I think it was just an opportunity. I think it's a great timeout by Kevin Krieger. He just had the sense that his offense was a little out of whack there and just wanted to talk things over. So Richard Cox, the ball carrier, now flips it over to the wing. This is Bakewell. Bakewell shaking and baking over there on the far side. I'm sorry I had to say that. Josh Hackmeyer. Good defense there by Carter McKeon, number 5. Look at the great footwork, the stick skills. Hackmeyer. Get it to the up top to Cade Kaiser. Kaiser wanting to shoot. Tommy Moore applying the pressure. Still applying the pressure. He was able to free up his right hand to pull off the shot, but it was Liam Bailey who turned that one away and raced back to X and was closest to the ball when it went out of play. And the end result, Brophy gets the ball on the missed shot. And then an unforced turnover. Tommy Moore couldn't corral a low pass. And now Salpointe, another opportunity. We're inside of 3 minutes left to play here in quarter number 3. Well, the Lancers have been shut out for quite some time. I mean, 10 minutes in this quarter and have not scored. We got a flag down on the field here. This is going to go against Patrick McNeil, so Brophy's going to be a man down here. In fact, the last time Salpointe scored was right at the end of the second quarter, the first half. Manka scored his second goal of the contest to tie it up with just 7 seconds left to go in the first half. But they have been limited here in quarter number 3, this Bronco defense, and mainly because of possession. The Broncos, of the 10-plus minutes here in the second quarter, they've held the ball probably 8 of the 10 minutes, including a 3.5-minute possession that resulted in a score that gave the Broncos an 8-6 lead. Salpointe needs a lift. Franzoy with 2 goals. Their passes aren't very crisp right now. Gates has it. Over to the wing. Big shot. That one picked up by Hushik. And he'll cheap it down to the other end and a push. Got to be a flag there on Eric Garrigan. So there is a flag down, but this is back on the other end. Let's get the call here. Well, I have no idea what hand signal that is. It's going to be Brophy possession here. I think this is I'm assuming that is a cross check, illegal cross check, or an illegal. It probably was illegal body check. That hand signal wasn't real clear from all the way over here on this side. That's one of the disadvantages of being on this side. So Brophy now 5-on-5. Actually now full strength for Brophy as Patrick McNeil out of the box. And so a man-up situation here, and boy, I'll tell you, if you're Salpointe, you got to be worried right now. You have not scored for nearly a quarter, and now you're 5-on-6. You're a man down, and the Broncos already lead by 2 on their home turf. Oliver loses it up top. Salpointe, can they get the possession? They need the possession as they are a man down for a minute here. And now both teams are at full strength. Now we got a few more seconds. The penalty was against Nate Moultrie. I believe it was an illegal body check. And now Brophy has found themselves back into the penalty box. So now, let's see, 5-on-5. 5-on-5, now Salpointe full strength. So Brophy finds themselves a man down here on the defensive side. Salpointe's got to score here, no question about it. They cannot afford not to score right here and right now. But the Brophy defense and their ability to hold possession here in the third quarter has been the difference. High shot, no. Moultrie, who just spent time in the box. Good job by the Lancers backing up the shot as we come to the end of quarter number 3. In this state semifinal, and again, a shot at the buzzer, no good. We head now to the fourth. Brophy, with 2 unanswered goals in the third, now leads it 8-6. The fourth quarter coming up on APN Video Sports. Jeff Lowry back here, APN Video Sports, and our coverage of the Arizona Lacrosse League. Tomorrow night, we'll be over at Notre Dame, and we'll be bringing you all the exciting play-by-play action of Desert Vista, Notre Dame. Last time those two teams met, that was a couple of weeks ago, as the shot bounces in, a one-hopper. Bakewell's second of the day. And along with an assist, he has 3 points here today, and it's a new ball game. Let's see if Salpointe can gain some momentum. Bakewell's second goal of the contest comes just seconds into the fourth quarter, and it's 8-7 Brophy. We were saying that the Desert Vista played Notre Dame better than anyone this year. Pinnacle gave them a pretty decent first half. But that was an 8-7 victory for Notre Dame as Desert Vista got out to a 4-1 lead in that game over at Pecos Park. But the semifinal game tomorrow to determine who will be in the state championship. They'll be facing Brophy or Salpointe. Right now, Salpointe in possession. They've won every face-off. Here's a shot by the long pole and turned away by Liam Bailey, who quickly gets it out towards midfield. Trevor Aldine, and a flag is down. And you got an injured player on the field, and Josh Hackmeyer. We're going to get a push, 30-second infraction. And this is Nathan Moultrie, second penalty against him. And now Brophy up a man, 6-5 here. So a man-up situation for the Broncos, who lead 8-7. The Broncos have not scored since the 7-12 mark in quarter number 3. We were tied at 6 at halftime. It was an early lead for the Broncos at 3-1 at the end of one. Jack Clark. Good defense by Max Manka. Now Joe Van Ribbink, who's only scored 1 here today. He usually plays well on APN Video Sports. Now Joe with the dodge. Looking for McNeil. There he is. Now Joe Van Ribbink again, and he is in close. Tell you what, give some credit to DeHaan. He's had a good game here. That's turned away. Garrigan with the save, and maybe the best save we've seen here, at least the most important save of this contest, as Salpointe has a chance now to tie this thing up at 8 apiece. They trail 8-7 here in the fourth. Inside of 9 minutes left to play here in regulation time. Lucas Kapp does a great job of clearing it, and now putting it into the box is Cade Kaiser. 8-7 Brophy in the white. They have the lead here in this state semifinal. The winner will be taking on Desert Vista Notre Dame, who play tomorrow night. Big shot, Kaiser, turned away by Liam Bailey. Excellent job by the Brophy goalie. I think both goalies have done a nice job here tonight. I know it's not a low-scoring game, but they have made numerous of saves, both of them, and give some credit to your goalie. Failure to advance Brophy. Luke Van Ribbink just couldn't get a handle on it, so a failure to advance. And now Salpointe has another opportunity here to tie this thing up. Franzoy with 2 first-half goals has it. On this blustery evening, though, the winds have calmed down a little bit. I mean, we had gusts of 25 miles per hour earlier. God, right idea for Salpointe. And Grant Hushik, who has been tremendous on defense. I mean, led by McKeon, Hushik, Ben Shine, and a couple of others on this Brophy defense. Broncos in possession, both teams full strength, 6-on-6 offense. Wegner picking up Joe Van Ribbink. They're making him work very hard here today. Lesher, there's your 2 leading scorers right there, number 3 and number 20. Oliver, wild shot, and came out of the face. And last touch by Joe Ducey, back of X. And now Ducey will be forced to play defense here on midfield. And right now, Salpointe having a tough time getting it across the halfway line because of the defense of Joe Ducey. And they're going to get a failure to advance here. Instead, they lose it, and Joe Ducey comes up with a huge ground ball. What a series there defensively by Joe Ducey. And the Broncos have possession and a 1-goal lead here in quarter number 4. Stay with us at the conclusion of this game. We will have our post-game show. Actually, go to Twitter for the big play of the week. We will not include it on the Gamecast. On this Gamecast, as Jack Clark goes in at point-blank range, and Eric Garrigan rising to the occasion. That might be the play of the game right there. And now leads it up ahead. Here's Bakewell with 2 goals and an assist. Franzoy with 2 goals, his shot. And it was Liam Bailey coming up huge for the Brophy Broncos. So the stars of the moment here are the 2 goalies for the Brophy Broncos and the Salpointe Lancers. Salpointe still in possession, trying to equalize. Work it around Dalton Franzoy as he's moving right. Bakewell. Cade Kaiser back over to Moultrie. Moultrie's been in the penalty box a couple of times. Bakewell with 2 goals. Tommy Moore on the defense. Tell you what, you talk about home field advantage. The Salpointe fans, I mean, they came up here in droves. They really have, and they have been, it's almost like as that one is saved by Liam Bailey, and the loose ball is Salpointe with 6 minutes left to play here. But they have had a good contingency coming up from Tucson, and they've made a lot of noise here, and at times it almost feels like a Salpointe home game. That one is going to be disrupted. I believe that's Parker Boyer, number 15. We got to double check that. Loose ball picked up at midfield, and the numbers in favor of Brophy. Van Ribbick quickly over on the pass to Lesher, and he left it high. Right above the crossbar. Brophy clinging to an 8-7 lead in the state semifinals with 5 minutes left to play here in regulation time. Follow us on Twitter, APN Video at twitter.com, and check out all the games. If you want to watch any of the games this year, they're all posted at the Arizona Lacrosse League page at apnvideo.com. Our next game tomorrow night, Desert Vista and Notre Dame. Notre Dame trying to advance to their first state championship in school history. The numbers, and what a great opportunity that time. You know, Richard Cox, he got it in as close as he could, but it was Liam Bailey equal to the task. And another great save for the Brophy Bronco goalie. He has saved 55% of the shots against this year. Parker Boyer is going to be pushed. Josh Escobedo with possession. .30-second infraction, so 4:19 left to go. Still anybody's game. But now Salpointe, who did a great job defensively a couple of minutes ago when Brophy was up a man, they limited them to one shot and nothing. But they're going to need to do it here. They cannot afford to go down by 2 goals here as we are approaching the 4-minute mark here in quarter number 4. Good patience. We've seen that out of this Brophy team. This team's gotten better as the weeks have went by, in my opinion. Joe Van Ribink quickly over. Goal line extended was Jack Clark. He races into the pipe and pulls off the big left. And the Brophy Broncos now lead it by a score of 9-7. This is the 3rd time tonight they have led by 2. That comes with 3:46. And Joe Van Ribink, I think, that's a borderline assist, but I think he deserves it. That was a great look. Clark coming from goal line extended left, working without the ball. Tremendous job by this Brophy team. And once again, the long possession and the patience on offense. Manka wins another face-off and provided a great opportunity. On the restart, here's Salpointe. They need a quick score. McKeon with the great body check there, and that one pried the ball loose. Brophy comes out of the fray. Tommy Moore. They lead 9-7 in the semifinal, and now they're going to say Brophy failure to advance. Yeah, somebody might have to explain that one to me. So Salpointe gets it right back. Dalton Franzoy has scored 2 goals here. Now they work the wing. Now in X. Franzoy's, both of his goals came in the first. Cade Kaiser lost it. And fortunately, Bakewell was there to get a big ground ball. But Salpointe's got to score, and they got to score now. Gates. Bakewell with 3 points leads all Lancers. High shot. And this one's going to be out of play. Only 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go here. A 9-7 Brophy Bronco lead. They are trying to advance to their 10th state championship in school history. 50-50 ball at midfield. Still loose as we're coming up on the 2-minute mark here in the game. And Brophy, a monster ground ball by Jack Clark, who had just scored about a minute and a half ago to give the Broncos a 9-7 lead, and now calling timeout with 2:09 left to play here in the fourth. You're watching the Arizona Lacrosse League state semifinals on APN Video Sports. Well, win, lose, or draw, Salpointe's had a fine season. Kevin Krieger has done a great job. You know, he spent the last 2 years coaching Sabino, which happens to be Salpointe's main rivalry, over there with Chuck Rulin. Chuck Rulin stepped down after a decade over there at Salpointe. This is going to be Lancer ball. They need a quick score. Down to a minute 40 left to go in this one. So Krieger goes over there. They kind of co-head coach the team, even though Rulin, I guess, was officially the head coach. Spent 2 years over there. Sabino, a very strong program under Chuck Rulin. And then when Rulin took the Pinnacle job in the offseason, Krieger came back to Salpointe and got him in the Final Four. So Joe Van Ribbink, another big ground ball. So 2 big ground balls here late for Brophy. Joe Van Ribbink a moment ago, and then Jack Clark picked up that ground ball up near midfield about 30 seconds ago to give Brophy the possession and then the timeout. Now McNeil has that one taken away, but Salpointe's got to hustle. Mankus quickly up ahead, broken up by Lesher, and that might be the ball game. What a job by Alex Lesher, the Brophy Broncos' leading scorer this year. They got to keep it in the box. The lead here, 2 minutes to go. And now the crowd sensing a victory. Sensing that their Brophy Broncos are heading back to the state finals. We're going to get a push and give it right back to the Brophy Broncos. That was the goalie, Eric Garrigan, who's not afraid to mix things up. Inside a minute left to play here. Patrick McNeil will restart it. McNeil, will he try to add on to a 2-goal lead, or will Brophy just try to play keep away the rest of the way? The Broncos are going to advance to their 10th state championship. They haven't been to the state championship since 2014. But it looks as if they're going to do it here. Stolen away by Salpointe. Cheap it all the way down. The zeros are on the board. And Bo Pick, Zach Whitman, and the Brophy Broncos are heading to Arcadia High School next week for the Division I state championship. They'll be taking on the winner of the Desert Vista Notre Dame game that will be played tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Notre Dame Prep. 9-7 is our final score. The jubilation begins here at Brophy Sports Complex. The Lancers will end with a 10-4 record. The third seed, Brophy, advances to the finals. They're 13-1.